What's up, everyone? It is Thursday, July 26th. This is episode 16 of The Daily Comic. I'm Jimmy Bird, and this is a show where I read one comic book a day, and then I come here and tell you what I think of it. Today, I am reading the comic of Mr. and Mrs. X. Right there, you see the cover art is issue number 1. This one, for me, in my perspective, came out of nowhere. So the X-Men had a big wedding issue surrounding Kitty Pryde and Colossus's wedding. X-Men Gold were building to this, and there's a special wedding special comic that came out all around this wedding, and all this much to do, while simultaneously Rogue and Gambit got their first mini-series of, I think it was 5 issues, but so they kind of coincided and wrapped up around the same time, and so I was confused. So when they announced Mr. and Mrs. X, and you see right here Rogue and Gambit, and they're definitely in wedding attire, you get kind of confused, like, hey, what's going on? And so instantly I'm intrigued. I don't read much X-Men. The last time I read X-Men was the first X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue issues. I just feel there's so much X-Men comics out there between the different teams. Blue, Gold, there was Prime, there's Alpha, or Astonishing, there's X-Men Red. They just announced X-Men Black. On top of all the solo things, X-23, Old Man Logan, just anything associated with X-Men. There's just so much going on, and I guess rightfully so for Marvel. X-Men is a big thing for them. People love the X-Men. So the supply meets the demand, basically. So this kind of threw me this first. So I was instantly intrigued about what's going on here, and why would Marvel throw a big wedding for Kitty Pryde and Colossus, and then right after release a Mr. and Mrs. X comic that was featuring these two cats right here. So it turns out, as I'm finding out now, that whole wedding was a big swerve, that Kitty and Colossus called off the wedding, and Rogue and Jean Grey found it as the right opportunity for them to finally do the deed and tie the knot and become Mr. and Mrs. X. So that's what's going on there. We have this comic now, issue 1 of an ongoing series, not a mini-series, an ongoing series, so we'll see how far this goes. But it's fun. You see that cover? It's a great cover. I love the art in this. That was the first thing I noticed. Is my mind wandered a couple times. It was very detail heavy, but I still was engaged because of the art. You get fun. There's a lot of fan service, as I would call it. Lots of just seeing the X-Men interact with one another in a social setting, because there's a wedding, and there's cameos, and there's lots of guest appearances in this. So there's just a lot of fan service, and then that's kind of where I checked out. After that, they went on their honeymoon, and then the mission begins for them, and they have to go off and fight this enemy and handle this mission that they were given from the X-Men while they're on their honeymoon, and wild things follow. And I kind of checked out after that. It doesn't really say much for the book. But anyway, the art was good, and of course, right away they pull out one of the big guns. Marvel loves to bring in cameos to kind of add power to these. They have a few hired guns that they bring in seemingly all the time, and you get one in here that kind of brings you back in and makes you want to pick up issue 2. So no, that's what I thought of this. Wasn't bad. Art's great. A lot of fun stuff, especially for those who grew up and your first love affair with X-Men was the old 90s comic or cartoon. So there we go. Mr. and Mrs. X. I think you'll enjoy it if you're an X-Men fan, or if you grew up watching the X-Men, or you're just looking for something new, because the ongoing X-Men becomes too much. This could be fun. This will kind of streamline it and down it. You don't have to read all the other X-Men comics to get your fix. You can get your 2 of your favorite right here. I know there's folks that are just simply excited about this right away. And just this one, because they're big Rogue and Gambit fans. All right, so that's my take on it. Did you read it? What did you think? What should I read next? Put all that stuff in the comments below. Maybe if you watch this video all the way through, comment and tell me what your favorite X-Men is, and maybe I'll enter you to win a free copy of Mr. and Mrs. X. All that said, I will see you guys again tomorrow, where I don't know what I'm reading yet, but it's going to be good. All right, see you guys.